Hey, you're listening to Bit Harmony, a video game music podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Seth.
Today, we're talking about Anodyne 2, Return to Dust, but before we do that, our intro this week is Guardian Palisade. Welcome back to Bit Harmony. It's been so long since you've heard us.
Yeah, very long this time around. In a weird turn of events, you guys only had to wait a week. Although for us, it's been much longer. We recorded that episode 0 like a month ago, I think.
Yeah, it was like middle of March. Yeah. It was hard to sit on that for as long as we did. Like I genuinely, I know you said the same, but yeah, I was excited for people to hear it. So it's nice to get that out in the open.
Yeah, I feel like and it's also that episode was like a bit different than like the normal episodes are going to be. Although I will say, just before we even get into the Anodyne 2 episode today, like I don't think either of us were prepared for how daunting of an episode this was about to be.
No, definitely not.
Turns out, pretty good game, pretty good soundtrack. So. But I'm looking forward to it. It's cool. I'm excited to actually kind of like, get into like the swing of things here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having like nailing the format and stuff down. Because yeah, like you said, that first episode is going to be very different from what these episodes normally are. And as a quick reminder, yeah, we are normally an every other week show, at least as of right now. I can be talked into doing it every week, but we'll leave that for the future probably.
Yeah.
But right now you get a treat. You get a treat of two episodes in a row, back to back. So before we get into Anodyne 2, we do have some general housekeeping and such. Real quick, just generally, I want to give a big thank you to everyone that has listened and commented and let Seth know how much you enjoyed it, left reviews. I know Seth has some specific reviews he wants to shout out. I just want to say in general, the response has been like more positive than I was expecting it to be, which I don't know what I was expecting, but this is definitely more positive than I was expecting, to the point where it's like, it's been a little overwhelming to me, but in a good way. I don't know. I've never had that many like Twitter and Discord notifications at once. So that was nice, but also, yeah, it's a little intimidating to me as a little baby podcaster.
just a fresh little baby, like coming out of the egg in Anodyne 2.
Exactly.
Welcome to a live Matt Murray podcaster. I agree. Like I wasn't sure what to expect when we launched it. I didn't think I figured it was going to be generally positive just because like the All-In community is just, they're nice people. But I thought that we were going to get at least one comment of like, yeah, like, I'm glad y'all are doing it, but it's not for me, but like, good luck, kind of thing. But there was none of that. Like the people who have checked it out seem to have really dug it. And yeah, I do have, I mean, like, for me too, like launching a brand new podcast with like an episode 0 or whatever, which it itself has only been out a week. We have like 7 5-star ratings on Spotify, which is for me quite a lot. That's like a new rating a day basically.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. And then we got 5 reviews just on like North American iTunes, 2 of which are written reviews that I do want to shout out here. The first one was from Boogs. So shout outs to Boogs. Who left a 5-star rating and said, "Must listen. Matt and Seth bring so much knowledge and love for video games to the table. One might say these two were born to collaborate on a project like this. Come for the music, stay for the insightful quips." So, yeah, big thanks to Boogs for leaving that review. And then the other review that we got that was written was from Shy Guy, who says, "NPR meets VGM. It feels like a cozy NPR show with 2 experts celebrating some of the best video game music out there. I absolutely love it." So, yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Yeah, big thanks. I also specifically want to shout out Boogs for being, he was, I think, the only person I sent him a very, very rough draft of the show. I don't remember if it was the first edit or the second edit. In the first edit, I didn't have the music like appearing beneath us are talking. And I don't remember if he asked if I could do something like that or if that was like something I was already doing. He definitely requested more of it. Or maybe he is the one that requested it completely, but it was already something in my head, and then that was the final push that I was like, okay, we're doing this. We're going all in with this. And yeah, based on what people have said, that was a very good choice. So again, I forget if you were the one that suggested it, Boogs, or if you asked for more of it or something. But I appreciate it. You were a very big help in the early editing process of this. So thank you.
People like specifically shout that out as something that they really enjoy about the show. Like, dude, I had people that like are normally pretty like silent, either in the community and Discord ever, like reaching out specifically to say that they liked Bit Harmony. So yeah, I'm with you. The response has been a little overwhelming. So thanks everybody who checked it out. And I'll say too, I did not think we were going to get voicemails on the first episode.
Nope, I absolutely did not expect that. I was like, maybe in like a couple months we'll have one.
But we have 2 voicemails actually to get into here. So I don't know. Do you want to go ahead and get into them?
Yeah, please. This is all I've been waiting for.
Okay, so let's go ahead and roll the first voicemail.
Hey guys, Shy Guy here. I'm a first time, long time. Been with you guys since episode 0, but this is my first time calling in. And I just want to say, love the show. Keep up the good work. I especially appreciate that you guys play the full song. That way I don't have to go and look it up and almost have homework, right? I hate when a show would mention a song and play like a little snippet and then I got to go find it out and listen to it. This way I can hear the full music. Really appreciate that. My question for you guys, though, my favorite part of the show is where you've talked about the context of the song and how the moment in the game linked to the music impacted you and how that's made the song we're listening to so much more impactful for you on a personal level and allowed you to make that connection. But my question is, how are you guys going to handle songs that have moments like that, but those moments are near the end of a game or perhaps linked to a major spoiler? For example, my favorite song in the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 soundtrack is linked to a major twist in the story. So are you guys going to try to avoid songs that have spoilers, or are you going to just give a warning and then have at it? Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for taking my question. Keep up the good work.
Interesting question. Thank you, Shy Guy, for sending that in.
Yes, thank you, Shy Guy. I think that's the first time I've ever been able to say the line. I really quick want to just say, anytime someone does the first time, long time bit,
I love it.
It makes me laugh every time. It's very good. I'll say real quick, when we first started talking about this, I was very, very adamant about us playing full songs. That partially came about, I used to listen to a video game music podcast called VG Empire. They're not around anymore. But that's honestly, I haven't listened to a podcast of theirs in probably nearly a decade, but I have a hunch that a lot of their general formatting is what inspired this show, but I purposely have not gone back to listen. So
sure.
But yeah, that was the thing I really appreciated with their podcast, that they played the whole song. I found a lot of cool video game music that way. I have very specific memories of hearing the Plock soundtrack for the first time through their podcasts while driving through rural Ohio trying to find a Catholic church that I was going to a wedding at. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts about the full songs versus like the snippets thing that you wanted to address?
No, I love it. I think that the full songs, like I think it really adds to that sort of like radio with music breaks, you know, sort of thing. Yeah, and so I appreciate Shy Guy for taking note of that, because that was a conscious decision. It wasn't just like it wasn't just like a laziness thing, like where do we play the right snippet and what snippet do we play. So it definitely, I think, enhances the show. So I appreciate him for calling that out.
When it comes to spoilers, so for one, we're going to test that out today because I know that Seth wants to get like real in the mud with Anodyne 2 stuff. So my general philosophy when it comes to spoilers, like period, especially in like a podcast form, is I never want the worry of spoilers to interrupt a good conversation. I realize that's hard though, based on the fact that like, yeah, not everyone has played it, and some people might be interested in playing whatever we're talking about. What I would say to anyone listening to this, like, we're not going to get to spoilers for a bit, and we will definitely give warning before we start talking about spoilers.
Yeah.
If at any point you hear music from this game or you hear us talking about this game and it sounds interesting to you, please just shut the podcast off and go buy Anodyne 2 and come back later. Please. I'm begging you. That would be my suggestion, especially in this case where it's like a relatively cheap indie game. I think generally it's I'll let Seth answer this too, but for me it's probably going to be, we will give spoiler warnings and we'll try and like timestamp when those spoilers are happening. It's probably going to depend a lot on like the game too. But yeah, Anodyne 2, it's been out for like 5-6 years now, so I think we're going to go for it, but just give you all some warning.
Yeah, and I think that spoilers too are fairly subjective. Like, I mean, like to some people, hearing any of the game's music at all is a spoiler. Right. So, like, yeah, I think that we can probably establish a little bit of a statute of limitations with that, and just as long as we give proper warning for folks, then I think it's probably fine. And yeah, like we'll probably just timestamp. Like, I think what we're probably going to do today is kind of carve out a section for it, and we're gonna experiment. Like, this is something that could change in the future, but we're figuring it out as we go. But yeah, like, especially it's also gonna vary game by game, right? Because Anodyne 2 is a very story heavy game, but like the game we're covering next week, for example, is not a very story heavy game. So
right,
like it's not it's on a case by case basis. So yeah. Cool. Well, do we want to get into our second voicemail?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's do it.
Hey fellas, what's up? It's Wilkins. I loved the show. I tried recording this in another format and it didn't work well, so hopefully this goes better. I was curious, guys, what is your favorite RPG town theme? I know that's a little outside the wheelhouse of what y'all been doing, but I was just curious. All right, excited to hear from you. Love you, buddies. Bye.
Aw, what a sweet boy. Thanks for calling in, Wilk. First of all, not outside the wheelhouse, dude. Not at all. RPG town themes? What a cool idea.
I think, and you made this joke too, but like, yeah, we reserved the right to like do a whole episode of this because we've thought about this, like very specific themes. I won't spoil any of like the ideas that I've had on here, but yeah, we've thought about this exact kind of thing. And I think this is like a very fun question, especially when you're forcing someone to choose a singular one. Of course, both Seth and I have honorable mentions to mention here. But no, I think every week I would be happy to answer one of these for a different subject or whatever. So yeah, I'm totally fine with a question like that. Did you want to go with your pick first?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like when I heard this, like when I think of an RPG town theme, this was very easy for me actually, because I immediately go to Traverse Town from Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a very like foundational, like seminal game for me. I understand Kingdom Hearts is convoluted garbage and it sucks, and I'm with you. I agree, but like I can't deny how important Kingdom Hearts 1 in particular is to me. And despite everything, I love Kingdom Hearts. Like I can't help but love it, despite all of the bad that is in there. And Traverse Town is just like the perfect like kind of mix of like that kind of cozy RPG town theme. It's got a great kind of like melody to it. I love just Traverse Town in general. I think it's just a really great and well designed RPG town. That was the instant thing that popped into my head. And there's a bunch of other stuff that I could have gone with, but like I had to go with my gut on that one.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts very quickly devolved into like the worst kind of anime garbage.
Oh, yeah,
and like
sucks.
I like anime garbage, I really do. But I think 1 and 2 are pretty okay at towing the line. Maybe 2 goes a little too over the line at times, but anything after 2, like Dream Drop Distance, is like hot garbage. It's fine if you like the game. I like it as a video game, but as a story, it's pretty bad. But yeah, that said, I have a lot of fond memories of the first 2 Kingdom Hearts games, and Traverse Town is maybe the coziest video game town theme I can think of. This isn't one of my honorable mentions or anything, but like the only thing I can think of that comes close in terms of coziness is like Pallet Town from the original Pokemon game. Like there's just and a lot of that is probably just nostalgia because of Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon are games I played when I was pretty young. But yeah, no, I think Traverse Town is a fantastic pick, and I also I don't know, I just think of like the cutscene where like Donald is like yelling at Sora and stuff. I don't know. Early Kingdom Hearts is pretty great, I think.
Dude, it's so special to me. But like, I also, have you ever seen that video that's a compilation? It's like why I can't show my friends Kingdom Hearts.
No, I don't think so.
It's just a compilation of just the peak like stupidity, just like, Riku being like, you might say I'm the biggest nobody of them all, stuff like that. Like it's just, like it is like, it's stupid hot garbage, but like I'm always gonna love it. It's just always gonna, especially Kingdom Hearts 1. I've played Kingdom Hearts 1 almost, like with the exception of maybe like World of Warcraft. I think Kingdom Hearts 1 is the singular video game I've put the most hours into in my life.
It's funny. I wasn't expecting us to talk this long about Kingdom Hearts, but I guess I should always expect to talk about Kingdom Hearts for a long time when it comes up. I think it came out when I was in 7th grade, and I have very fond memories of one of my best friends at the time, like him coming over to my house and spending the night for the weekend, and like us farming materials to like upgrade to get the Ultima Keyblade or whatever.
Ultima Weapon. Mm-hmm.
He was real into the gummy ship, which is wild to think about. I like the gummy ship in 2. The gummy ship in 2 is solid, but in 1,
cool.
in 1, I'm not a fan. But he was like, no, I'm making like, I think he literally made a Star Destroyer in Kingdom Hearts 1 gummy ship editor thing, and very fond memories of Kingdom Hearts. Honestly, now I kind of want to do a Kingdom Hearts episode. We should do that sometime soon.
We will absolutely do especially Kingdom Hearts 1. I used to do stupid stuff. Like I would do playthroughs of Kingdom Hearts 1 you do a foot race with Riku at the beginning to determine who's going to name your raft. And I just wanted to see how high you could get the counter. Because like if you win the foot race, Riku's like, now the score's 0-1 or whatever. I got it up to, it caps out at 99. I found that out. I just did the foot race like 100 times.
I remember fighting, because you can fight like child versions of Tidus and Waka and Selphie. And like the easiest way to like get a couple levels in the beginning is just to fight Tidus over and over, and you keep whacking the blitz, or maybe it's Waka.
It's Waka, yeah.
And just keep whacking the blitz ball back at him. I don't know. Yeah, I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 like, I don't know, like over a dozen times each in my life, I'd say, which is very sad to say, I think. But like I said, I have a fondness for Kingdom Hearts, and
I've gotten to max level before leaving Destiny Islands that way. I did that.
You're one of those people.
Dude, I had a sickness. I had a sickness. We will do a Kingdom Hearts episode, and I have many more stories akin to that.
I can't imagine many stories akin to that. That sounds wild. You're gonna tell me you were doing like you're playing the game one-handed. You're playing 2 copies of the game at the same time, each one-handed.
Matt,
level 1.
I've maxed out the timer on that game multiple times at 999 hours. Like, I'm not kidding. I was obsessed with that game. I played it for years until Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. Like, it was the first game I was truly like obsessed with.
I don't know who I'm doing this podcast with.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Did you have any honorable mentions you wanted to shout out?
Oh, yeah. Quick shout out to Besaid from Final Fantasy X. That's one of my favorite pieces of video game music. I just love that. Just a cozy, like, I mean, I used to like meditate to that song. Like, I love that track. So, and Final Fantasy X is another one. We got to do an episode on that at some point.
Yeah, one of my honorable mentions is a Final Fantasy X song. If I considered Besaid a full-on town theme, that probably would have been my pick, but I always just consider it like you're going to the town theme, but I think that counts. I'm not criticizing your pick, to make it clear. That's why I didn't. Actually, Besaid is
it's an island village, really. It's a quick stop, if anything. Doesn't even have a proper storefront or anything.
Man, I can't believe that. For my pick, I went back and forth. Let me do my honorable mentions first.
Okay.
My 3 songs immediately came to my head when I heard Wilk's voicemail. It was Shiver City from Paper Mario. I love Paper Mario. That's like the first RPG. Yeah, noted big fan of Paper Mario.
Noted Paper Mario fan. Yeah,
it's on the air now. You can't take it back. Yeah, I don't know. I love penguins are my favorite animal. I love I don't know, all the fact that like that town's a murder mystery.
So good.
A very goofy murder mystery. I think like when Mario is accused of murdering the mayor penguin, one of the NPCs in town is like I don't associate with like murderers or something. If you try talking to them, very good. Probably my favorite town in Paper Mario in general. I also then had Luca from Final Fantasy X.
Mm-hmm.
Luca that's like the 3rd major area in Spira you get to. It's where the Blitzball tournament is taking place. It's like the only full-on major city in the game. I guess Bevelle, I guess, is a city, but you don't really see the city. You're just in the cloister of trials and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, Luca, like Yuna talks about it, that like, or maybe it's not Yuna, but one of the characters is like, yeah, this place is just as much danger of being attacked by sin as anywhere else. It's just that people will more fiercely defend this because it's our Blitzball capital. Like, it's our only reprieve. So like we fight harder here, which is kind of silly because Blitzball is kind of inherently silly, but it's also kind of sweet and beautiful. I like how just energetic the area is because like, yeah, there's a sports tournament going on when you get there, so there's like an energy going on. It's a very upbeat theme, kind of very different than the rest of the themes you're hearing throughout the game. Anyway, God, we're talking about all this non-Anodyne stuff for a very long time. My actual pick is Majula from Dark Souls 2. And like, I'm a big Souls person. I love all of them. I think Dark Souls 2 gets a lot of unfair hate. It's probably the worst of the Souls games. I would maybe, depending on what day you ask, I would maybe put it above Dark Souls 3. I don't know. But Majula is like undeniably like, I don't know, that song feels like home in a way, like a kind of sad home. It's like in this destroyed post-apocalyptic village, but there are people occupying it. Like, Souls music is not always at the forefront, and when it is, it's usually boss fight themes. So to have this more like somber and kind of like bittersweet and nostalgic song, I always looked forward to going back to Majula, which you do often because you have to level there in Dark Souls 2. I don't know, it just felt like a homecoming, and also the fact that there's like so many branching paths there, like you can go down the well, like you access like 3 or 4 major areas through Majula, which I don't know. It's on the coastline. Just a great song in general. Hey,
Yeah, it's like gentle.
Yeah,
I really like it.
It really brings it makes me think of like waves crashing against like a shore. That's exactly that's where you are.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about replaying Dark Souls 2 for a while. The only thing keeping me back from it is that it is the longest of at least the Dark Souls games, and it's like 3 times as long as any of the other games in that series. So I would still like to at some point. That said, those were our voicemails for this episode. I also wanted to quickly clarify that when it comes to voicemails, like you just saw or you just heard, we had 2 pretty different voicemails come in, 2 very different questions. One was about like kind of the structure of the show, and then another one was just like, hey, do you have any particular favorites of this kind of music? Those are both great formats for voicemails. But basically, I'm down to take like basically any voicemail you want to send in. I'm when I envisioned this originally, it was kind of more like song requests, and then like you could even have us react to the song. I mean, granted, there's a good chance depending on the game that we've heard it before, but like that kind of stuff is great. But you could basically send in anything. You can send in your grocery list if you really want to. I'll critique your grocery list. It's fine. But just to clarify, you don't have to have anything specific in mind. You don't have to have any pointed questions. If you have those, that's great. But yeah, go ahead and send in anything.
Yeah, and I'll add to just very quickly that there was a functionality with Spotify where you could like leave a voicemail directly from Spotify. It doesn't really work very well, and it's going away in like a month anyways. So I went ahead and just turned it off. The best way to get your voicemails in are to either DM one of us or email your voicemail to bitharmonypod@gmail.com, which there's links in the show notes for that too. And I'll hit this again at the end of the episode, but yeah, if you want to send in your voicemails, those are the best way to do it.
Agreed. And now we're going to go on a quick break, and then we're going to get back and talk about Anodyne 2. And on that note, we're going to have a little break music here, and a thing I'm really looking forward to with Anodyne 2 is saying all the song names, because half of them are very fun and silly. Your break music right now is Sparkle Sparkle Neuromaze. And we're back, and that was, once again, Sparkle Sparkle Neuromaze, and that was off the Anodyne 2 Return to Dust soundtrack, and that was composed by Melos Han-Tani. What are your reactions to Sparkle Sparkle Neuromaze?
What a great song.
Yeah.
I love that whole section that it plays in. It plays in the Lawnway dungeon, I guess. And we'll get into some more of this stuff as we get deeper in. But I love how it, like, you know what it reminds me of? I love any song that kind of like makes twinkly stuff go between both channels, you know, like left and right. It reminds me of the intro to Such Great Heights by the Postal Service. Like when that song starts and it's just like popping in both of your ears. I love that, and it's got this kind of like bit crushed like bass underneath it, and I love how the instruments kind of like trade the melodies back and forth, and it also, like, the character of Lawnway that this song kind of represents is this very sort of neurotic character who doesn't really know how, like, the people that she's like interacting with feel about her, and she has a lot of like anxieties about it. So the song feels really like neurotic to me. Like it feels like anxious.
Yeah, anxious is the perfect word, despite the fact that it's like so bubblegum pop. There's like this twinge of anxiety going on. Yeah, the story in that area is like she built a robot to like simulate conversations with people that she knows, but like all the responses of the simulated people are like horrible. So it's like she's anticipating bad results from trying to talk to people that she wants to talk to, which, man, right off the bat, I feel like that should give you a good idea of like what we're getting into and what we're talking about with Anodyne 2, if you haven't yet, or if you haven't played the game yet. Real quick, we'll do an overview of Analgesic Productions, the developers of Anodyne 2. That is a studio, I guess, do you call that a studio? I know they're remote from each other.
They are. Like, Melos lives in, I think Marina's based in like Minneapolis or something, and Melos lives in Japan. So they're fully remote, but they are a studio of two people. I remember I interviewed them on All In like years ago at this point when I first played Anodyne 2. And they at that time, I think, said something akin to like, we basically made like a studio because we had to. Like when we developed the first Anodyne, like in order to like get paid, basically we had to be a studio.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, again, that's Melos, Han-Tani, and Marina Kitaka. I don't know exactly their whole development history like prior to Anodyne. But the games they've put out under Analgesic Productions is Anodyne 1 and 2, Even the Ocean, Sephony. They are currently working on Angeline Era, which is pretty high up my most anticipated games list. At the time of us recording this, they're doing like a closed beta test for that this weekend, and I signed up for it. I'm hoping.
I did too.
Hoping to get in.
Me too. I'm hoping.
Did I forget any games there? Again, Anodyne 1 and 2, Even the Ocean, Sephony, Angeline Era.
Yeah, no, that's the Analgesic Productions games. Like Melos has done like all our Asias and stuff, and but yeah, like in terms of the Analgesic games, yeah, that's it. And for me, like Angeline Era, like that's my most anticipated game of the year by far. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it, but that's at least in my top 3. It probably would be like number 2 or number 1 at this point. That's going to be like a throwback to the old Ys games. That's Ys as in YS, the old RPGs. They still make them, but the old ones have like a combat system where you just kind of walk into enemies and then like damage is calculated as you bump into them. And then Melos has coined the term bump slash combat, because you don't actually have to do the sword swinging yourself, and that leaves you free to be able to like control your movement and focus on your movement and jumping and stuff, as opposed to having to worry about also doing damage. I think that's really neat. I think that's also very like emblematic of how much thought they put into their development. We'll get into it. I guess we'll probably just get into it here. Like, none of their games, I think, like have really broken through into the mainstream in a major way. I think Anodyne 2 is probably the one that comes closest. I feel like that's the one I see people talk about the most, but it's still not that much, like compared to, you know, like Hades or Shovel Knight or whatever. And I part of me wonders, is it because like they think about their games that much? It's almost like they've thought too hard about it and they've made games that are like too good. I don't know. I appreciate all of the thought process that goes into their systems. Again, I imagine we will probably also do episodes in the future on at least Even the Ocean and Symphony as well, because those soundtracks are just as good, if not better.
Incredible.
Incredible. I also, real quick, how does one person manage to compose this much music and that it's all on this
insane.
level?
Yeah, no, it's insane. Like the body of work. I mean, when we were putting together this episode and we were like, okay, like we can't just play, you know, the whole sound. It's all great. Like it's a genuine masterwork, and it's all really good. And even like paring down the soundtrack, like paring it down to the bare bones, like this is the stuff that we cannot leave out of this episode. Like even after making like heartbreaking cuts, you know, like we still wound up with just a insane amount of music that y'all are going to hear today. So it's just peerless, like in terms of, especially in the indie space. Absolutely peerless.
They're putting out a new game every like couple years, and like they're all
Right.
like not that none of them are like 40-hour JRPGs or anything, but like they're all like at least like 8 to 10 to 12 hours plus like bonus unlockable stuff. Plus, not to mention just the quality level that they're at from a storytelling perspective and a music perspective. Like Stephanie, to me, I think is probably their most divisive game. We did a whole games club. We all met and talked about Stephanie, and everyone agreed on like the music and the story was incredible. But yeah, some people just cannot wrap their hands and heads around the controls of Stephanie. I don't know. When I think about like the kind of games they're putting out the games that I want to play. As someone that is so far, like I've seen behind the curtain, I've seen way behind the curtain when it comes to like video games, and I've played hundreds and hundreds of video games in my life, and I guess that's part of the reason why I like their games so much is that like they feel genuinely fresh and new in a way that like no other game does to me.
I agree, and we should say, like, you and I are the most analgesic pilled people you will ever meet. They're like they are just, they nail it. Like the things that I'm looking for out of video games, I want things that are unique, that give me experiences, that let me see and do things I've never seen or done before, that take me to new places, that have like depth to their story and to their music and stuff like this, but also have like a level of cohesion between all of those things. Like everything in an analgesic game is so well considered. Like every facet of it is well considered. Like nothing feels like it's there for a superfluous reason. It just like the craft of their games and like the art design, like everything is like firing on all cylinders for me, and it just like the quality just gets higher and higher for me with each release, because you can even go back, like I even look at something like Even the Ocean, I'm like, God, like yeah, like the art and the music, it's like beautiful, like even still, like and Anodyne 2, like I've been replaying it leading up to this episode. It's like, man, like this stuff is still so good, like none of it feels like it doesn't hold up, you know.
And even like, you know, when Anodyne 2 came out, this is one of the first like low poly indie games I can remember being like getting attention, I guess. And in the years since, low poly has definitely become more of a established like aesthetic, I guess. But yeah, I've also been replaying Anodyne 2 this week, and it still looks better than like any other low poly game that I've seen personally. The only one that's coming close right now is that Abyss X Zero game. But that's going for like an explicitly Mega Man Legends-esque look to it, which that is a very timeless look to it. So it makes sense that like that's the only thing competing with analgesic stuff for me. But yeah, I love the aesthetic of all their games, and even the Ocean and Anodyne 1, those are both 2D games too. So it's it's not just the low poly thing I'm freaking out about. It is just in general, there's just so much love and attention put into every facet of their games, and it's truly in a way that I don't see out of like many other development studios. The last note I had here under this was kind of like an open question or prompt, but we already kind of talked about it a little bit, but it was, what do you think is like the differentiator or secret sauce with analgesic games for you? I don't know if you had any other things you wanted to add to that we haven't already talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a few things that come to mind. I mentioned the cohesion, which is a huge part of why I love their games, but connection, I think, is another one. Not only in like the theming of their games, the really like human stories that they tell. Like they're not afraid to kind of go there with their stories and kind of like bare their souls, you know, in their work, in a way that is like intensely relatable, but also like the way that analgesic games kind of talk to the player, is not something that you often see unless that's like that game's entire shtick. Like, oh, I'm gonna break the fourth wall, you know, and be goofy and crazy. Like their games, like they will talk to the player. Anodyne 2 basically opens up with a message from Melos and Marina, and like they'll, you know, have like behind the scenes stuff in their games that is like unlockable through gameplay, which is not something that games do, which is crazy. And I asked them about this when I interviewed them. Like they're like, you know, this is no different as an art form than something like movies, which have deleted scenes and bloopers and whatever and concept art all the time. Why can't games do this too? So like when they release a game, it just feels like a very like complete like piece of art that like I get to see every element of and feel like I'm actually having a dialogue with the people making it. So that's a huge like point of difference for me with their stuff.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like cohesion, and I like this. Yeah, I don't know exactly, like a togetherness. Yeah, like this, like we're all in this together thing. A thing I really like about their games that I've also never seen anyone else really do, at least to the extent that they do, is usually the end credits of their games. They have like photographs that they've taken and they insert them into the credits. That really hit at the end in the credits of Stephanie, because that game was developed during the pandemic. Well, again, hey, we're actually still in a pandemic in case you didn't know, but
right.
But it was developed in 2020 and 2021
in the height.
The height. Yeah. And like that really hit home. Like, I don't know, there was I forget whose picture it was. It was probably Marina's, of like just like she took a picture of like the street outside of where she lives, and I don't know, just like it was just empty. I don't know, it really got to me, especially coming off of the themes of that game. But I think you nailed it. It's that cohesion. It really feels like it is unfiltered like art from two people that just want to make art. Like there is no higher up telling them, well, we should take this out, or we have to insert. Yes, uncompromised. Perfect. Yes. I think that's what it is for me, on top of like, their willingness to talk about themes and stuff that I don't see out of like any other game. Like a lot of times, like you get in, I don't know, you play indie games that are more story oriented and are billing themselves like, we're telling like a serious story, but then like what does that mean? It's like, oh, there's like murder, and then there's like this person has amnesia, and like there's still, it's still kind of like over the top and silly. Whereas Anodyne 2 and all their games is kind of the opposite, where it's like they're presenting you with like what seems like goofy stuff at first, but then like when if you actually pay attention to the text and like what is being written to you on the screen, it's heart-wrenching. I didn't want to subject people to too much of this, but later on in the show, I just wrote a whole like 2 paragraphs down that straight from Anodyne 2 that I'm excited to read, because it's I don't know, their games tug at my heartstrings in ways that like no other game does. Like playing a little bit of this last night, I was full on crying in front of my wife, and I was reading her this passage, and she was rubbing my head and she's like, it's gonna be okay. Don't cry over the bone man and the gum lady
and the gum golem. Which I think it's a shame that people, I think, look at some of their stuff, especially like Anodyne 2, and they get so hung up on like the surrealism of like the visuals or what's happening, that they sort of lose sight of like the real like human experience that the work is like speaking to, which is true of all of their games. But like I think that Anodyne 2 might be the one that is kind of, I don't want to say buried the most, but it has the most like world building and abstraction on top of it. And I think that like, and I guess I feel like I'm talking in circles or something, but I for me, like in Anodyne 2, I relate to the experience of the character intensely, and we'll get into that. But in something like Sephony, I don't, and because it speaks to things like race and cultures that I'm not familiar with. But even then, like there is a human through line through it that I can relate to. And so like even when they're presenting me with like stuff that I have no like personal lived experience with, they make me feel like I do, if that makes sense. Like just I don't know, like they are telling my favorite stories in any medium, period, like video games or otherwise right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, that's the thing with like good art is good art should be able to transcend your lived experiences and make you be able to relate to people that have had different experiences. Because yeah, I like you said, well, it's funny. I find that maybe I should save this, but as someone that didn't really grow up in a religious background, I don't relate as much to the Anodyne 2 story as much as Stephanie, which deals way more with like immigration and stuff, which I mean, I am an immigrant. So like that is a lived experience for me. But that's all to say, yeah, these stories are remarkable, and we are going to talk about like specific story moments. That doesn't inherently mean spoilers for all of them, because a lot of them are kind of vignettes. But anyway, let us take a quick break, and then we're going to give you more of a breakdown specifically of Anodyne 2. And on this break, we are going to be playing you Upon Soaring Highways. And that was Upon Soaring Highways, again, composed by Melos Han-Tani. Every song on the Anodyne 2 soundtrack was composed by him, except for one, which we're going to play, and I will have to make sure that I grab the composer before we play that song. Anyway, so let's talk about specifically Anodyne 2 as like a video game. Did you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, sure. So Anodyne 2, Return to Dust. This, again, is the sequel to Anodyne, which was Analgesic Productions' first game. And yeah, you play as Nova, who is a nano dust cleaner, who is sort of I guess, emissary of the Center, which is this sort of eponymous kind of quasi thinly veiled religious religious sort of force that kind of protects a central city from nanodust, which is this kind of like virus that like infects the citizens of Theland, New Theland, I think. And so Nova's charge essentially is to help the citizens who are infected by nanodust by shrinking into them, and kind of like exploring their subconscious minds or insides. And it kind of becomes, when you do that, it goes from a kind of like 3D platforming kind of experience to a top-down 2D like Zelda style, kind of like Anodyne 1 was, in these kind of compartmentalized, like puzzle-y, structured stages. And you collect their dust and you power up the center. You kind of feed it back into the center. At least that's how the game like starts you off. And there's a lot going on in terms of like we've already talked about the kind of surrealism, the abstraction, the metaphor and stuff. But the entire thing is kind of like this cohesive story about this character and the way that she is kind of navigating her mission as a nanodust cleaner and the things that she's learning about the world around her, the people in the world, and the center itself. So, yeah. Yeah,
and I don't even really know where to start. I guess I'll try and keep it focused on the gameplay. So yeah, like you said, like it presents you at first with it's kind of like a 3D platformer, and even platformer is kind of too strong of a word. Yeah, it's more of like an exploration or adventure-y game. Like there's really no there's no like challenging platforming going on, if that's what you're coming to this game for. The jumps are all very floaty, and you really don't ever need to do any kind of crazy jumps or anything. So
it's totally forgiving too, right? Like Nova has like a double jump and like a float, kind of thing. And the expert, like they were inspired by like Shadow of the Colossus, so it kind of feels like that, like sort of overworld exploration, kind of isolating. Yeah.
And it's almost, it reminds me a bit of like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask with like a jump button, in that like the different like overworld fields are like segmented, and like you're just going from place to place and helping people out. Also like most of these people that you're helping, like their arc kind of connects to the overall theme of the game in a loose way, but like again, I mentioned before, it's kind of like Dragon Quest style vignettes where they're their own thing. Like a person that you help early on in the game, I forget his name, but he is collecting lampshades. And his house is just like a mess, and he's kind of like a sloth in a way. Like it clearly is being used as a metaphor for like hoarding and stuff. And the idea is like, you're helping him get over these habits. Like you shrink inside of him and go into, is it like, I always took it as like the subconscious that you're going into based on like what the dialogue often is like you're oftentimes talking to the person while you're in there, or like representations of them. But I was never sure if it was meant to be like you're literally in their body doing stuff, or if it's more of like you're in their like soul or subconscious.
Yeah, I guess it's never really fully said, other than like Nova does physically shrink. So I don't know exactly what they're going for there, because Nova does basically, there's like a light rhythm game that happens where you are kind of like breaking through their sort of like, I don't know, defenses or something, and then you do this kind of like magical girl transformation where like Nova shrinks down and goes into this kind of like weird 3D tube transition computer screensaver. We talked about this when I first played the game, like Beyond the Mind's Eye, sort of thing. If anybody listening gets that reference, good God. But like it, yeah, like I don't know if it's supposed to be like a Psychonauts thing where like you're just kind of like in these sort of figmentized like subconscious stages of their own imagination or feelings or thought or whatever, or if you're like physically inside of them. Because another thing is like you're shrinking into them and you're removing like physical dust, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the game never really says one way or the other, and I don't guess it really matters ultimately,
Right.
But still, yeah, it's interesting.
I was just curious if like you picked up on something that I had missed. Like you've played through this whole game more recently than I have. I have not replayed the entire thing since it was new on PC back in like 2018 or something. I am in the back trunk of the game on my Switch on the run I started this week, but didn't have time to finish before we recorded this. Do you have any, like, just from a gameplay standpoint, not from a music or story standpoint, but any like gameplay favorite dungeons? I know you mentioned, I think we weren't on recording yet, but like the bone gum stuff, and we'll save that story stuff for later, but like just from a gameplay standpoint, the different dungeons.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite. The low quad Skelligum, and yeah, we'll get into that more in detail later. But that, for many reasons, is definitely my favorite sort of dungeon in the game, or like my favorite clean, I guess, in the game. But like they're all. I mean, it's really striking to me, especially upon replay, like how good they all are.
Yeah, like even the early simple ones are pretty good.
There's not a bad one in the bunch. And another thing that I really appreciate about this game is that like it resists temptation to throw a bunch of new mechanics at you. Like Nova kind of gets like her base moveset and it's kind of just that through the whole game. And like the mechanics that are being introduced or like the gimmicks or whatever are done like organically within the stages themselves. So like, for example, a really early one that you'll do just in Center City C-Node, the kind of first like 4 that you kind of have to do before you can even leave the city. It's this dude who's like made out of tongues. And he like the sort of gimmick of that is you have to use Nova's vacuum, which is kind of her main verb in those sections, to like pull like the tongues that like link to these sort of like tongue gates that can be used to like damage enemies or gate off sections. So like it's little stuff like that. Like she never gets like new abilities necessarily. But like they manage to find really interesting sort of like organic in-level implementations that make it feel like you do even though you don't.
Right. Like a Zelda dungeon, each one of these nano sections is like pretty different from each other, even though your abilities don't change whatsoever. It's all about like the different contexts they give you. And there's so many of these, and this is the bulk of like the actual gameplay, so we don't need to dive into too many of them. I do like that early tongue one a lot, and killing enemies by like pulling the tongue out to hit them is very good. We mentioned the Lawnway one earlier, but we didn't go into like the gameplay of like you're controlling Nova, but then also there's like a shadow version that is it's not a shadow version of Nova, but it's Clownway is mirroring all of your movements on the other half of the screen, and so you're having to find ways to like get to different sides of the screen with each other, or like avoid, like you have to walk a specific path with Nova so that Clownway doesn't take damage. Having to defeat enemies without Clownway being destroyed. It feels very like, I don't know, like Link's Awakening or like the Oracle of Seasons and Ages games to me. Totally. And like that creativity going on. Again, I don't want to spoil like some of the bigger gameplay surprises, because like it's funny us talking about this game so much the past week and even making these notes, like neither of us brought up at all like some of the more crazier shifts in the gameplay. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, like when the whole game gets flipped on its head for a whole section. And again, I don't want to spoil that at all, but the amount of variety here is truly, it's pretty stunning. And even talking about it now, I realize that Stephanie has a similar thing of like, Stephanie is mostly a platformer, but that's also like a block puzzle game, and that a lot of the variety of the gameplay doesn't come from the platforming, but from like the block puzzle enemies and how each one is pretty unique. That's not to get off on another Stephanie tangent, but that's just something I realized, that they find ways to add variety to the gameplay that you wouldn't or where you wouldn't expect. And yeah, from what I've replayed, I would agree that the Bone Gum stuff is definitely the best, like best story, best theming, best area, best characters, and probably the best actual puzzles going on. There's I guess we can talk about the actual gameplay, I guess, of the Bone Gum stuff, but yeah, you're sucking in like rib cages and then shooting them out at like wads of gum to create ladders out of gum and bones. Some of the puzzles there get like a little devious. Again, the game isn't meant to be like super hard or challenging, or like you're going to be stuck in this dungeon for an hour like a Zelda game. But like, yeah, it took me a few minutes to figure out some of those bone gum ladder puzzles. Again, without getting too far into spoilers, there is a whole section of this game that's like way longer than any section. That's like a whole mini RPG.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that at all the first time I played this game. It really, like, they completely throw the format or the, I don't know, like what your expectations are on its head like multiple times in this game. And it's really, it's rather remarkable what they're able to accomplish.
Yeah, there's stuff in here that that is truly surprising. That you know, coming into it, you'll bump into stuff in here that you will never see coming, which is cool. And it all, you know, it goes back to the cohesion thing we talked about earlier with their games. Like, you know, this is a game in which like the gameplay or the gimmicks in these kind of Zelda style dungeons, they tie into what's happening with the characters. They tie into the larger themes of the game. And even like, even in those first four sort of cleans that you do in the city, like you talked about the lampshade person, like you're solving kind of like these problems that on the face of them are kind of objective problems. This person is a hoarder or whatever. This person is angry and like violent or whatever, and you're helping. But like the tongue person, right, is like, you're cleaning them or whatever, and their problem is that they want to lick a bunch of stuff, but like it's a creature made of tongues,
right?
So
like that's inherently what it is. Yeah.
So like we're telling a creature made of tongues that it shouldn't want to taste, you know,
right?
And so like it's kind of interesting because like even something as simple as that makes you think about like kind of, it's already planting these seeds in your head. No pun intended. It's planting these seeds in your head of like, oh, like maybe what I'm doing isn't necessarily the right thing every time, even if it is sometimes. And it's little stuff like that, like where they manage to sort of give you that layer of depth through gameplay that also ties into theming and narrative. And that is something that, you know, like Zelda doesn't do that, you know, like
right.
for Zelda, it's like, oh, like this dungeon's cool because it's like the ice one, and like you're pushing ice blocks or whatever. Like this game's like, yeah, like you're going into this dude made of tongues, so you're pulling a tongue around, you know, like that, like it, you know, like that stuff to me like hits so much stronger. And you know, I love Zelda. Zelda's my favorite video game franchise, full stop. But like Zelda doesn't come close to that with like the actual like theming and narrative cohesion of what they have going on. So it is like truly, truly remarkable stuff.
Yeah, it's a great game. I think, was that as much of like a gameplay overview that we were wanting to do before we?
So.
Okay, yeah. It's funny from a gameplay standpoint. Like, yeah, there's really not like, yeah, it's a split between 3D and 2D overhead, and you are diving into people's heads, and that's when it becomes 2D. And then that's kind of it. Oh, go ahead.
We should mention actually there is one facet that we haven't mentioned, and that is that for reasons Nova can turn into a vehicle.
Yes.
And so it's really just like, I mean, you can literally just press a button and you can become like a giant like tank. that just sort of like moves through the world. It's really just for like speed, like just to get through the world more quickly, because Nova's base walk speed is like, not that it's slow, but like through the overworld, which like some of the areas are actually quite large for what they are.
Yeah, really large actually.
On foot they can be quite large, even if they're, they can be somewhat desolate. Being able to hit a button and turn into, and it's like a good feeling, like it feels pretty good to just like get around in that thing. So that's maybe another little layer to it, is that you can also kind of, just drive around, no thoughts, head empty if you want.
Yeah, and also they kind of facilitate you being able to do that a little bit in the back half of the game, because for story reasons we won't get into yet, or maybe at all, but they introduce a character that introduces these like meta tokens,
right?
And it's meant to be like making fun of like a lot of modern game design and stuff of like, hey, don't you want to collect these useless things? But yeah, you can collect the useless things and you can unlock stuff with them. And, I would not recommend, I doubt even Melos and Marino would recommend trying to go for all of them. Don't do that, but definitely collect some. And then that's how you unlock some of like the behind the scenes, like development stuff otherwise. So yeah, that is actually kind of a cool reason. Like if you just want to drive around and see the cool, like moody environments again, like at the end of the game, and collect some tokens on your way. Yeah, that's a good excuse to do it. So yes, that was a good call, shouting out the car form.
It's good. Good stuff.
Yeah, it also, it looks cool. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a white Batmobile, or it's kind of got like the Blaster Master tank vibe going on. It's a cool looking car. I would bet you anything they probably just designed that car early on and we're trying to figure out a way to put it in there, and then they're like, hey, what? Maybe Nova should just turn into a car. I don't know.
I don't blame them. And then it also gives them an excuse to work in like a car wash environment, So.
Dude, the car wash is so good. Also, I forgot until I like talking to the NPCs so much that like,
me too,
that like I go out of my way to do it every time I've played this game. I forgot that the dolphin outside the car wash actually will just straight up tell you where cards you're missing are.
Yeah, like the hint person.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, there's utility in some of these NPCs also, even though I don't think the game ever tells you that. So it's up to you to figure out like, oh, the dolphin, the car wash dolphin, of course, he'll tell me where cards are that I need to progress.
The dialogue's good though. Like the NPC dialogue is all quite good, and like I love just walking around like the center city C node and just talking to people. Like there's like this little marketplace area, and there's a mole tuber in there who talks about like how he wants desperately, like his passion is to make video essays about like quote small world games, but nobody wants to watch them. They only want to watch his videos about big world games. I'm like, God, I feel that in my soul.
There's an NPC, I think they're right outside the tower, that it tells you that like, hey, instead of toasting your toast or you're toasting your bread, try just microwaving your bread
it
for like 30 seconds and then spreading butter on it. I did that shortly after I played this game for the first time, and I agree. I do like eating warmed up bread that way more than just a general toast, at least just for butter. If there's other stuff going on, probably still going to toast it. But yeah, if you just want some buttered bread, honestly, stick that bad boy in the microwave for a little bit.
It's textural differences, but like if you want to crunch, you still need to toast it. But if you just want a warmed up piece of bread, knock yourself out.
I don't know. There's something good about it, but I don't know. Maybe we're getting too into like my white trash level. I don't know. We are going to take a break, and to emphasize just how much music we still have to play for you, I'm going to group two songs together for this break. We are giving you Stargaze Valley Night and Sludge Stained Kitchens. Stargaze Valley Night is the one song off the OST, not composed by Melos, that's composed by Equip. I believe Equip has like a Bandcamp and stuff. We'll link that in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
But again, that's Stargaze Valley Night by Equip and Sludge Stained Kitchens. And then afterwards, we will talk about like our feelings about Anodyne 2. And once again, that was Stargaze Valley Night and Sludge Stained Kitchens. It's funny, Stargaze Valley Night is one of my favorite songs in the game. Again, we keep coming back. We're dancing around the bone gum stuff, but that plays in like the nighttime desert area where you do the bone gum stuff. So it automatically holds a special place in my heart, but I also just really like how lo-fi it sounds. I don't know, that song has really always stuck out to me. So knowing now that it's the one song composed by someone else makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's a certain like I feel like there's a certain oral identity to, I'm gonna sound stupid, but like starry areas. Like
No, I don't think that's stupid.
it reminds me of Shooting Star Summit in Paper Mario. Like it kind of has that, but yeah, like it's lo-fi, like it has like a crunchiness to it. And then there's this kind of like, I really like how there's like a ghostly like sort of chant, behind it, but then at a certain point it kind of gives way to like wind noise. So
yeah,
the whole thing feels kind of like whimsical and pretty because it's like twinkly and starry and stuff, but also like scary and like desolate. Like it makes perfect sense to be in this kind of like little pocketed like nighttime desert. So yeah, it's very evocative.
Did you have any? I didn't write down any notes for Sludge Stained Kitchens. I just really like it a lot. I just threw it in here.
Well, I like it a lot too. The one thing so I wrote down some notes for this one too, and the first note that I wrote down is like a powered up Boo House theme.
Okay, yeah.
Which like it's got these kind of like I love listening to some of this music with nice headphones because it kind of like makes you appreciate the like detail paid to stuff. Like it's got these reverberated notes that kind of like circle your head a little bit, like the way that he's placed them like in the channel, like it literally feels like it's like circling your head, and it's got these kind of like, but it's like darker and more like oppressive almost. Yeah, I don't know, it's really good stuff.
I love in all of his soundtracks, like, the name of the song is Sludge Stained Kitchens, and sure enough, the area that you're playing the game in is like these muddy, horrible, greasy, awful like house area / kitchen. And I don't know, if you were to play me that song and then ask me what I thought about it, I'd be like, yeah, they're in some like weird swampy or like mud area, like just some real gross place. I know that sounds basic, but like, yeah, that's an important part of like striking an identity both with your soundtrack and with the areas that you are exploring in your game.
Yeah, he's really good at conveying like the tone of a place, and that's something that I kept coming back to as I was listening to this soundtrack again, as I was playing the game again, making my notes for this episode. Like it feels like the music is having like a conversation with you about what you're experiencing in the game. And another thing that the Melos does a lot, and I'll talk about this, especially when you get to Center City C Note, he leaves a lot of room for like interpretation as well, like a lot of like space for you to kind of decide what like his music means to you, and like almost like pass it through your own human experience, or even like literally your mood, because the songs can be kind of more loose and abstract. Like Rei Harakami is a huge influence on his stuff, and if you like any of the music you're hearing in this episode, check out Rei Harakami. Pone specifically is a very big sort of like inspiration for Anodyne 2's soundtrack. So yeah, it's just very meaningful stuff, and that's not something that I get. Like a lot of stuff, especially in video game music, it's easy to go for something that's very like melodic and melody forward and driving. He kind of like purposefully bucks against that. That isn't to say that the songs don't have melodies, but like yeah, I don't know, like I feel like I'm kind of talking to the game through its music.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way of putting it. Like, yeah, there's something like ethereal almost. Like, yeah, it really is, the music is passing through you, and it's like taking something from you and you're taking something from it. I know this makes it sound like I don't even like we're on a commune somewhere.
We sound crazy.
But like truly, I've never played games that make me feel the way any of their games do. Like not just Anodyne 2, but for me specifically, Anodyne 2 and Stephanie are the ones that really hit the hardest. But even the ocean is also fantastic. I guess that's a good lead in then to what was your first experience with Anodyne 2 like I guess what I mean is I don't know, like this was your first Analgesic Productions game as it was for me when I played it. What was your range of emotions? What was your like reaction to the things going on here the first time?
Well, so to give a little bit of backstory and lore, we alluded to this in episode 0. But this game's a little bit of a meaningful game for our friendship. Because this game, I think once we kind of first met and started to get to know each other a little bit more deeply and like our tastes and stuff, you specifically recommended this game to me. And you were like, hey, like, I know that you're a huge Steven Universe fan. Like, you should play Anodyne 2. And I kept kind of like putting it off, not for any particular reason other than just like playing a bunch of other games. But eventually, for whatever reason, like I was kind of in a place where I just wanted something that made me feel the way that Steven Universe did and does. And so I was like, Matt's been trying to get me to play this Anodyne 2 game for forever. Let me just do it. And yeah, like that was a game-changing moment for me. Like I remember playing that game and just being so struck by like, I mean, everything that we've been talking about so far in this episode. And I went through an emotional roller coaster. I've never felt so seen as somebody who carries a lot of religious trauma. I've never felt so like seen by a game talking about that, in particular. And also, it made me feel seen by you, if I can go there, that like a lot of people will recommend you something and like you'll play it and maybe you'll even enjoy it, but like it doesn't like speak to like your soul in the same way. And for me, that was a moment of like, oh, like this dude gets me, like he knows. And so you would go on to recommend me other stuff that you thought that I would like, something like Hypnospace Outlaw. And like that also, it's like, oh, cool. Like you've just recommended me because you know me and understand me so well. You've recommended me 2 of like my favorite games ever, So, yeah, thank you.
It's funny. I think about this a lot. I think I actually read this in like a boss fight books. It was maybe even the Shadow of the Colossus one. Like the act of like recommending art to other people is like an inherently like not exactly selfish, but it's just like you want someone else to experience the same thing you've experienced, that you can like talk to them about it, right? Like it's the same. I've tried to get my wife to give Anodyne 2 a shot and she just has no interest, and that's fine. But like it's something that I'm like, I think you would like this if you actually sat down and like even just watched me play it. I think you would like it. I've been on like an internet pilgrimage for the past like 6 years recommending people Anodyne 2. And yeah, I've made friends because of it. Like yeah, you and I don't remember the exact timeline. Like we were already like friends, like we were already on track and whatever to be like good friends. But yeah, I do think that there was this inherent like, yeah, like when I came into the All In Discord, I recommended like a few things all at once, not right away. I wasn't, because I've recommended people Anodyne 2 and Hypnospace Outlaw before, and I know they didn't like it. But like, yeah, after being in there for a few weeks or a couple months, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are games that Seth would really like. I think I also had There Is No Game in that list.
Yeah,
there were probably a couple other things, but yeah, it was one of those things of like, it was specifically with Anodyne 2, yeah, it was the Steven Universe stuff. Like you had mentioned something about really loving Steven Universe. I'm like, yeah, okay. Then I have to give this a shot because, yeah, Steven Universe is one of my favorite pieces of fiction ever. And
same.
Even though there isn't like anything like in that is specifically calling out to Steven Universe in Anodyne 2, there is this vibe that I always picked up on. Like, it really felt to me like there is some Steven Universe stuff going on. So also when you had Melos and Marina on, and they gave you literally like a Google document of their inspirations for Anodyne 2, and they had Steven Universe at the top, that was a very liberating moment for me. That felt that was very that was good for my ego. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I'm glad to hear you say that. That does my heart good. That, like, I don't know, the idea of like to be seen by another person. I'm glad that you feel that way. I feel that way about you. I mean, we're doing this podcast. We've been talking for Anodyne 2 for like over an hour at like 4 in the morning your time, or 5 in the morning. I don't know what time it is anymore.
What time it is. Yeah.
But yeah, it's because of that. And like, yeah, to me, Anodyne 2 is also like the perfect example of, like art bringing people closer together. Like, I've also recommended this game to Wilk and another friend of mine, Colin. I know they both loved it. Colin is the one in our in the Critical Diversions Games Club. He was the one that recommended Even the Ocean. I think you and Colin both. They're like, oh yeah, Even the Ocean's on sale. We should do this. Like, it's cool that we have like this little group of people that we know that all really like the analgesic games, because I'm glad that I'm not alone trying to post on Reset Era anymore about how good Anodyne 2 is.
We can bear this cross together now.
Yeah, exactly. we can make a 3-hour podcast together.
and I'm sure we will. I think we're doing it now.
The way I found the game originally was, I don't know how, like, I just saw the trailer one day. I don't know how it popped up. I don't know who recommended it, or if it just literally just popped up in my feed. I saw it was low poly. Again, I mentioned earlier that like low poly aesthetic wasn't really as much of a thing a few years ago as it is now. So I was immediately taken by the style, the look of the game. But yeah, if I'm being honest, it was specifically the music that ended up really, like, I bought the game instantly, and it was only on PC at the time. I never play stuff on PC, but I was like, no, I have to play this like right now, and I beat it in like 2 sittings. And specifically, the song that played was Pastel Horizon, which I think we're going to take another break right now, and we're going to play you Pastel Horizon and The Lives of Wild Ghosts. And I guess we'll just save it. We'll talk about both those songs when we're back from the break. that was Pastel Horizon and the Lives of Wild Ghosts, which, as I said before the break, that Pastel Horizon song was the trailer song for Anodyne 2 and is basically the reason I picked this game up in the first place. That area is just really striking. It deals a lot with like death, like as the name implies of the second song, Lives of Wild Ghosts. Like you're in this area where there's like a bunch of dead people and they're waiting to get on a train and stuff. My biggest regret this week is that I did not have enough time to get to this area on my replay. But do you have any notes on Pastel Horizon or the Lives of Wild Ghosts? I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah. This is one of my favorite tracks in the game. I mean, like you loop them together because they kind of are like part of the same, the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
This song and Center City Sino, which is my favorite song in the game, utilizes like wave sounds in the background, which is like very thematically appropriate, of course, because it's like this. Yeah, I mean, it is a pastel horizon. It is like a sort of like on the pastel pink orangish, sort of waves. And it's really noticeable in the final minute or so of the song when they go away. And they just stop. And it's also striking to me when you get to Lives of Wild Ghosts, like the instrumentation of it translates, I think, far better than you would expect to the sort of chiptune style. Because like it doesn't normally, when you think of like demaking a song or something or translating it to like a chiptune style, you would expect it to lose some of its depth or something. The Lives of Wild Ghosts loses none of the depth of Pastel Horizon. Like the effect that the waves would give is kind of replaced by these like long, like pretty droning like synth notes, kind of underneath it, like kind of in place of the waves, because you can't do that in chiptune, obviously. Specifically, this portion of the game in general, and this song, I do this thing in my mind. I don't know if this is just a me thing, but like I will hear a piece of music and I'll attach it to like a memory in my life, like almost like I'm scoring like a music video based on my memories or something. It's a very dumb, weird thing that I've done my entire life. And this song, I remember being so taken by. There's an NPC that's kind of like in this kind of area of the game that's kind of just sitting on like a dock, kind of looking out to the water. And I remember, like, for some reason, like that whole section of the game made me. It is attached to this memory I have after my grandfather passed away. We went to Kentucky where he lived, my whole family. We went there for the funeral and stuff. We did the funeral. It was like raining the whole time, but it stopped raining afterwards. And my cousin and I were walking down the street adjacent to my grandparents' house, kind of after the funeral. Everybody's inside, like having like whatever, like they did like a church like potluck thing after the funeral was over and stuff, and we were kind of doing our own thing walking along the street. And I just remember like the sky was like this kind of like pinkish orangish like hue as the sun was setting, and I was kind of just like walking down the street with my cousin. We were both still kind of like dressed up and stuff, and like seeing the sun kind of falling behind like the mountains in Kentucky where we were. And yeah, that memory is just like burned in my brain. And when I think to that memory, I hear Pastel Horizon in my head. So yeah, that's the song kind of carries a little bit of meaning in that way, weirdly.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. I have moments like that with music too. I honestly, that sounds awesome. Not the situation, but that's awesome that you have like imprinted the song on that memory.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Little music video memories. I've done that my whole life. Like I have so many examples of that.
So I think this is kind of basically going to be like our final section, besides like our end stuff, our YouTube comment oversharing corner, and the just outro. We're going to talk about our favorite story moments in the game, and I know Seth has a lot he wants to say specifically about the beginning. So again, what I would emphasize is if anything you've heard prior to this sounds interesting to you and you don't want to be spoiled, you want to go in as clean, as fresh as you can, just turn the podcast off and come back when you're done with the game or whatever. You can always listen later. It's fine. We'll be right here. That said, this is just the beginning of the game. We're going to get into themes of the whole thing. We're also going to talk a little bit about some later stuff when it comes to my section, but overall, I don't consider this like that spoilery beyond like just saying, hey, there are some like themes about religion and like indoctrination going on here. So I wouldn't be too worried about spoilers, but if you are, just turn it off and come back later.
Yeah, and like we'll timestamp this section if you you know if you want to skip past all this stuff, that's fine too. If you want to just come back for the YouTube comment over sharing corner, that's totally fine. But you know, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. I want to talk about the beginning of the game specifically. There's a lot to sort of dig into there, and then like some of the larger themes, some of the themes of the dungeons that we can talk about in a little bit more depth. So yeah, you have been warned, everybody. Yeah, so I guess like to start talking about like the intro of the game, that was kind of what struck me really like right away. Like upon replaying this to gear up for this episode, I was like, damn dude, like the intro of this game is so good.
Yeah.
Like it's so well done, like well designed, well, like the music there obviously is great as it is throughout the entire game, but you know, like this whole theme that we've been sort of dancing around it, but I, you know, like the maybe there are a lot of themes in the game, but probably the strongest one for me is the theme of religion. And I grew up, you know, in a very like I was born into a very Christian household. And I was raised devoutly Christian. It was church 3 times a week. Like that was a major part of my life up until my sort of like early adulthood. And I have a ton of like religious trauma, as does a lot of the people in my family. And it's a very kind of like touchy subject for me. And another thing that I want to say, before I get into any of this, religion is a very difficult subject in general to broach with people. I cast zero judgment on religious people at all. I'm not here to say like religion bad, you know, or whatever.
I also want my general thought on like criticism of anything in life is that criticism is an act of love, be that of the art form or be that of like people. Like if you're religious, that's totally fine. I have plenty of religious people in my life, and it for them is healthy and it is good and it can be like spiritual. But yeah, we're probably going to be talking about some things that are not so spiritual, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people, especially people who are religious, will feel attacked by this game. Right. I think a lot of people will feel like it is kind of attacking their worldview or something. I actually don't think it is. No, I don't think so at all. I think that it is just providing a perspective of like the people who made the game and sort of like the life experiences that they had, and it's one that I relate to really intensely. There is a line that happens in the Dustbound section of the game that I wrote down because I think that it just perfectly illustrates like what this game's kind of take on religion is. And the line is, purpose is an idea. It is a tool for people. We are not the tools of purpose. And to me, like that is saying like, you know, like religion gives people purpose. Faith gives people purpose. It gives people a reason to do any of this because nobody knows what the hell is going on, you know, in life. So it gives them a reason to keep going and to do whatever it is they need to do. But like that purpose is a tool and we are not the tools of it, you know, and that's kind of what the game is saying, I think, above all else. And I don't think that is an anti-religious message. I think that it's just another perspective. So all of that to say that when the game opens, you know, there's this, I mean, the game opens with Nova's birth, effectively. And I mean, even from like the start screen of the game, you see Nova in like a womb, effectively. She's in like the classic like pose. I don't know if you call it a pose, but when you get in like an ultrasound and stuff, like she's curled up like that. Yeah, the fetal position.
and she's like, it's got this orangey glow over the whole thing. But even beyond that, you get to the albumin shore when Nova is sort of like, born or whatever, and she's greeted by Guardian Palisade and C or like Center Psalmist, and they are basically her sort of like parental figures or mommies, as the game sort of purports. And one of them, like Palisade, is the much more kind of loving, doting, caring sort of figure, and Psalmist is kind of the more like, I don't want to say cold, but definitely the more like focused. Still cares about Nova, but definitely has like, a more self-assured focus to her.
Yeah, it very like, I think one of the character traits is like, isn't good with kids is what it's listed as. Because it makes me think of like, I have family members whose like dads are very like aloof and just don't know how to interact with their own kids, kind of thing. That's kind of the vibe I get from Sea Psalmist.
Yeah, like I would almost compare it to like in Steven Universe terms, like I like see Psalmist has a little bit of that Pearl, vibe, where Pearl is like, caring and loving and stuff, and can be like gentle and doting as well, but like she's like a warrior and has like a strong focus on the task at hand. And yeah, a little bit detached from whatever that sense of reality is. And then Palisade is your kind of more typical like motherly figure who is like very comforting, and Nova is kind of more attached to. So you meet those characters before you're even like properly born. You're in this kind of like egg, and I just love the way it looks like this beach, like this beach island with, again, like the waves and stuff, but like you can look into the distance and like the skybox is like this egg membrane kind of look. I just think it's beautiful. Like, it's one of my favorite areas in the entire game, and they give it to you right up front. And then the purpose of Nova being born, when she's first born, she has to, and this is another way that the game just sort of like tutorializes you or prepares you for what is going to be coming ahead. You talk to these like egg yolk creatures, and that's how you learn about how to like nano dive or whatever into them and get the 3 pieces that are required to nurture and grow the Glandulox seed inside of Nova's head, literally planting the seed of the center into Nova's head before she is like allowed to be born. Like, she's literally being born with these ideals, and it was just a very striking opening to me. Not only the way, like, it tutorializes and sets up like the sort of expectations of like what the gameplay of the game is going to be super well, but like I was just thinking the whole time, like, I think a lot of people would turn this on and play that opening and be like, what the hell are they talking, like sippy yolk milk? Like, what are you talking about? Right? But like, I was thinking about this as I'm playing. I'm like, saying a sentence like it, this game will earnestly say something like, the sippy yolk milk will allow the tendrils of the Glandulox seed to grow in your head, and take root. That's no more strange than, the Christian tradition of like communion and talking about like eating the body and drinking the blood of your God.
Right.
That's like, it's all just kind of a perspective based thing. And, it's kind of like, I don't know, like that's a like very striking iconography that the game puts right out there on front. It's the way the game opens. And then like being kind of like introduced to the world at large and coming in not through the proper center city. You go through Center Sanctuary first, which is scary.
Yeah, like, it's creepy down there.
Like, it's scary. It is this little like kind of cloistered grotto underneath the city where Psalmist and Palisade kind of are stationed. And like the song under there is creepy, man. And like you have to like continue to go back there throughout the course of the game, and it kind of gives this like innate creepy undercurrent to the things that are happening. It's just it is one of the strongest, like most evocative video game openings I think I've ever played. I was very taken by that on this replay.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I haven't played the whole way through this game since it came out, and yeah, I really didn't remember a lot of like the intricacies. I was very glad that I played at least like 6 hours of this past week. Um, I was very shocked, yeah, just how much that ends up becoming important in the end. Like it really is like all seeded to you in the beginning. Like even stuff like, yeah, again, Palisade contrasted against Psalmist of like Palisade want, like she talks about like I want to nurture her, like she's more than just like her job, like she's more than just the task we've given to her. And Psalmist like, yeah, okay, but we really need her to do that job kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really blown away by that too. I just, yeah, like you said, that like egg membrane skybox. I think in general the skyboxes in this game are like fantastic.
So good.
But yeah, like because again, when you're first playing the game, that might not even strike you as like what is happening, because like everything is so new and fresh, and like you might not have the sense to be like, oh yeah, I'm literally inside of an egg right now. But yeah, playing through it now, I'm like, oh wow, like I'm literally inside of an egg. It's yeah, it's, I would agree with you. It is one of the best and most striking openings of a game I've ever played. And then when you get out to City Center C Note, and then you hear like that song, just one of my favorite songs in a video game, period. I know you have a lot you want to say specifically about it, but yeah, I just wanted to get my piece in real quick that like,
Yeah.
it is both calming and soothing and beautiful, but also haunting and scary and foreboding all at once. Like I could use like a billion different adjectives for this, but like it is all of these things at once. And it's every time every time I played the game this past week, if my wife was home, she was sitting on the couch next to me, just humming it every single time.
God, there's so much to say about Center City C Note. Is this one, should we play it? Should we always play it for people?
Yeah, sure. I was wondering if I should just, yeah, we could totally do that.
Okay.
Let's take a break. We'll play Center City C Note and we'll be back. And that was Center City C Note. I got better at saying that over the course of this episode. Seth, go on about Center City C Note, please.
Oh man, I've got this song is very important to me. So yeah, this was the one, like when I first started playing this game, hit me like a freight train, because like what I mean, you tapped into it, like what you said before the break, like it's got so much texture to it. There's so much going on in that song. There's so much space for it to hit you in so many different ways. Like there are times when I find the song nostalgic, you know, like there are times when it feels like childhood or something. There are times when I find it peaceful and serene. It's got, again, the waves kind of slowly crashing into the background of it. There are times when I find it like scary and like oppressive or like droning. Like there are times, and I don't know if it's because of like the context of it being sort of the theme or the soundtrack that plays when you're in the kind of like hub world of the game or whatever, but like it reminds me of like a City 17 from like Half-Life 2 or something. Like you would have that like that Dr. Breen like message that plays on loop, you know, in City 17. Like it almost makes me think of that, like this oppressive like droning. Like there are times when I hear the song and I'm like, this is like a repeated melody that's being like banged into the heads of these people or something. So like all of those different emotions I can come into that song with. You're almost allowed to like, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, you can like collaborate with this song almost and like paint it with your mood. And but because of that, like it's a wonderful song, I think, for meditation. I am a daily meditator, and have been for years now. And after I played this game, like this song was my daily meditating companion for like at least a year. Like I literally meditated with this song playing. Melos put an extended version of the song up on Analgesics YouTube channel, and I would use it every day to meditate with. It's just a wonderful, wonderful song. That I think is a true like masterwork. I've never sat down and thought about what my top 5 or top 10 like favorite video game pieces of video game music ever are, but this would be in there, like 1000%.
It'd be pretty up there. Like objectively, I don't know that I'd even say this is like the best song in the game, but like it is the song in the game for me. Like it is the song I think of when I think of Anodyne 2. Yeah, I don't know. What a song. I also really quick, I forgot to write this down and I didn't know where to put it. Melos, for one, he uploads like the official uploads of the soundtracks that he works on YouTube, as well as I think Spotify, and you can also buy them on Bandcamp. So please go do all of that. Also, his YouTube channel, he has like VGM picks, like Melos's VGM picks.
Very good.
Very good picks from games that I have never heard of. So like when I say that like you, the listener, might have never heard of some of these songs, I, who have spent way too much time listening to video game music, have never heard of most of the songs that Melos posts on his YouTube channel. So we'll have to get all of that in the show notes as well. I guess we'll dive real quick into Bone Gummed Urine Sands. I guess we'll do this. Maybe this will be our last break real quick. But then, yeah, we'll talk about that after the song plays. So Bone Gummed Urine Sands, again, one of my favorite like song titles to say in the soundtrack. We've been alluding to this the whole time. When I replayed the game, or most of the game this week, this was where I knew I wanted to at least replay this section. I know, Seth, you just played this like a couple hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this is following the story of two characters, Gravis and Stavros. I think Gravis is the bubblegum ogre thing, and Stavros is like the skeleton.
Yeah.
Gravis is like some kind of like sentient like gum that like fell from the sky into the desert, and Stavros was like, he lives out in the desert and he researches like fauna and cacti out there, and he saw the impact and investigated the crater and found Gravis and was able to nurse her back to health. They never explicitly draw like attention to it, but it's obvious that like Gravis has like some of Stavros's bones like attached to her, like that's her arms and legs are made out of his bones.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stavros, like inside of his rib cage, he has like some kind of gummy substance, which I suppose is like meant to represent like his heart.
Right.
So it's like they've given each other pieces of themselves so that they can live together and live and be alive together. I'm already getting kind of teary-eyed.
Yeah, there's gonna be tears in this episode, y'all, for sure.
But yeah, they built this house, and also the house name is Loquat Skelegum, which is also very very good. And yeah, the whole the cleaning section of this area is Loquat Skelegum is like deteriorating, and now there's more dust than ever. Stavros and Gravis are telling you that like whenever the house starts getting bad, they patch it together themselves out of I believe like bone dust and like metals. Yeah. So it's like I take that as like Stavros is like literally using pieces of himself to make sure their house doesn't collapse, basically. And that, but there's way more dust right now, so you need to go in there and take care of the dust. Again, I took so many screenshots. I didn't write many of them down because that would have been like an hour of just me reciting dialogue from this game. But I took screenshots on my Switch of like basically every line of dialogue in this area, and it's heartbreaking. I shouldn't say it's heartbreaking. It's very bittersweet. I guess is what I mean, because like they really, Gravis and Stavros like truly love each other, but like, yeah, through the cleaning of Loquat Skelegum, that sentence is wild. Through the cleaning of Loquat Skelegum, like, yeah, you find out like the house talks to you, as well as like the skeleton key and the gum key talk to you, and like that's representing Stavros and Gravis, and like the doubts that they have about not necessarily with each other, but about themselves and their capability to love one another, and like what they deserve. And the gum key at one point is talking about like, he's like, maybe I should just leave. Like, I don't know, like how can this possibly work out? But then continues on with like, no, but that doesn't make sense. I could travel the stars for eternity and never find someone who loves me as much as God. It's it's beautiful. I did write down kind of the ending of that area when after you've cleaned the dust out of Loquat Skelegum, the house talks to you. I'll just go ahead and read this real quick. I am Loquat Skelegum. I stand witness to the Skelegum saga. Within my walls, Gravis and Stavros live out the patterns of their life. Piles of clutter rise and fall. Television shows are watched and rewatched. Story after story is read before bedtime. A great love lives inside of me. A great love, yes, but also pain. The ache of words left unspoken, of sensations left unfelt. Things that are invisible may build and build until they manifest upon bodies, writ upon drywall and ceramic stone. And I could barely finish reading that out loud because I was getting pretty choked up and teary-eyed. I don't know. It makes me think of like Marriage Story, that Netflix movie with like Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. I don't know, man. That coupled with like the music, and again, this is also where it was playing that that song by Equipped, that Stargaze Valley Night. Like that's playing in like the 3D area of their house. Like this is, to me, this is like the perfect like chunk of the game. Like this represents everything I love about not just Anodyne 2, but also just Analgesic Productions games in general, but also like video games and their capability is like a medium for storytelling. Because like this wouldn't work any other way. Even saying some of this stuff out loud, I know it sounds ridiculous mostly because of like the names, but that, you know, that's also on purpose. Like it's meant to be otherworldly and even somewhat silly to a degree, but that also is what lends it the gravitas that it has. Like it's, I don't know. This is like, this might be my favorite like story moment in a game ever. The only other one I can think of that comes close is actually from Sephony, but we won't talk about it here. But man, yeah, I don't know. Did you have anything you want to say about the Bone Gum Deer Sands?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like marriage is hard, right? Marriage is hard. You know, it's hard to be like, you know, steadfast partners against everything telling you that you shouldn't be together, that you, or whatever, like any moment of doubt that you might have, or any difficult challenge you might face, you know, and we should say that like all of this is conveyed inside of like a 30-minute like optimistically section of the game. This is literally just a little dungeon that you do, and even before you like start the dungeon or the cleaning like properly, you have to actually talk to both of them separately, which is really powerful to me because it almost implies that like they're like either fresh off of like a fight or they just want to spend some time apart, and you have to like go to them separately to like reunite them to get their house in order, you know, and like their house looks like pottery that has been put back together time and time again. It's this feeling of like, no matter how many times this thing breaks, the only thing that matters is that we continue to come together and piece everything back together. And it reminds me, there's I was telling you, I was talking to our group chat about this. I recently like rediscovered the Imogen Heap song Hide and Seek.
Yeah.
And there's a line, like I was on my night walk one night like a month or two ago, and that song came on my playlist, and I was like, oh my god, like it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I listened to the lyrics like for the first time, and there's a lyric in there that makes me think of this. It's the lyric where she says like, oily marks appear on walls where pleasure moments hung before. I think that there is a certain level of importance that you place on a living space with a partner. There's like a certain level of like, you know, like this house, this place that we inhabit, this thing that we've built together, like it must stand. Like it's like a representation of us and our love and our relationship. And even like when it comes to the song itself, like the Bone Gum Deer Sands, the song, for one thing, it kind of carries over that it has this little like slide whistle like in the background of it that kind of reminds me of the howling effect that is happening in the Starry Night song that's happening just outside of the house, which I think is a really cool piece of connective tissue between the two songs. But there's this like very bit crushed like staticky thing in the background of the song that makes me, the feeling I get from it is like, in the background of it, it's like, it's sad and like mournful, but it's almost like threatening in the background. Like I'm intruding somewhere I don't belong, you know, like it's almost like I'm here to help these people, but this is like too personal. Like I should not be seeing this, you know. They bring in like punch, like the God, I get emotional talking about this stuff, man. Like you around the 118 mark, punchy beats start to come in. It feels like you're listening to an argument or something. The whole thing feels like this anxious discussion between these two people, but then around the 130 mark it like resolves and it turns into this hopeful like we can do this together kind of thing. It's just, Yeah, everything about this game is very accentuated in this one moment. Yeah.
To build on like the argument stuff and like how it sounds like they're the argument's reaching like a pitch or whatever. The end of this section is the skeleton key and the gum key like throwing their love at each other, and you have to avoid the hearts. They damage you, but like they're throwing love at one another. It's cute and it's interesting and it's bittersweet, and it is everything all distilled down into this one little vignette. Like I said before, like besides like the one really long area later in the game, most of these sections last like 20 to 40 minutes. So the fact that they're able to tell this whole complete arc, that I'm really able to feel the emotions I'm able to feel, and like to emphasize, like the characters look really goofy too. Like Gravis is like this giant like wad of gum with some bones sticking out of her, and she's got a big dopey smiley face. Like but it doesn't change how it hits for me. It's really beautiful. When you get the bad ending of the game and activate the Anodyne, you get like a little montage of all these characters you've met throughout the game and them reacting to the world ending. And the one for those two is Stavros saying, "I love you, Gravis, I'll always love you," as they're both looking at like the sky, and the sky is kind of like, it's not like the peaceful night sky as it was before. It's like yellowed because like bad things are happening, but he's still holding on to the house also. Man. This game is incredible. I'm so glad that like we did this as our first episode, and also that I was able to find enough time to play up through that point. I know we have a couple other moments written down. Did we want to like quickly go through them, or do you want to skip over them based on how long this has already been going?
I know we've been going long, but if there's ever going to be a game that we should go long on, it's this.
No, go for it.
So I mean, we there's one more dungeon that maybe we could shout out. We don't need to hang on it as long as we did this one, I don't think, but it's still well worth shouting out, I think, in a similar vein, and maybe like letting people listen to that song as well, I think is pretty good and important. So can we play them Time to Let Go?
Let's play them Time to Let Go. And also, should we put Nano Cleaner Zera here as one final chunk of songs? Okay.
Sure.
Then in that case, let's do it. Let's do, this is Jeff Agricite, Time to Let Go, and Nano Cleaner Zera as your last break for this episode, I swear.
For real this time.
Okay. Jeff Agricite, Time to Let Go. So real quick, because I know this is one you wrote down. The early game wise, this is definitely like, this was the moment when I'm like, oh, this game is like looking to mess with my emotions.
Yeah.
Just as like, because this is like in the second batch of dungeons, I think, or cleaning. I keep calling them dungeons for lack of a better word, but yeah, the cleaning. So you get to this like destroyed, it's like I don't know, like a crater area, but there's like this like Rockman body on the ground, and that's what you go into. That's what Nano or Nova shrinks down into, is this body, Jeff Agricite, as it turns out. And you go through and like, well, I don't know, how would you explain it? Like, because you go through here twice, right? And it's like you see the current status of it, and then he doesn't remember, but then you go back through and then he has his memories back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you go through it and you see like the way it is, and like gravestones. Because what you come to learn has happened. He also doesn't have memory. The crater is there because he's been digging for so long that he no longer remembers even why he's digging. And his body is starting to like actually give out. Like when you find him, he's at the bottom of this crater just shaking. And he doesn't remember what he's doing, how long he's been doing it. And when you go into him the first time, you see these gravestones in this place, and you learn that he was the mayor of the city that used to stand there that fell prey to an invasive fungus. And the heart of the fungus was feeding off of the inherent dust and stuff. And rather than having the people of his city relocate, he was like, no, it's fine. I'm going to dig the fungus out. But of course it was futile, and he basically, allowed his people to die rather than give up the home that he had built for them. He refused to give it up, and it cost him the life of his people, his partner, his child, and everything else. And when you go through it the first time and you kind of warp out, you have to actually leave the dungeon and come back into it through his home later on, and then you kind of see like his memories of the place when it is lush and verdant. And God, I get emotional every time at this part, because like the the platforms in this stage are held up by hands, and like you're climbing on his hands, literally holding this place together, try as he might, refusing to let it go. And everybody's begging him, like, you have to move on, you have to relocate, and he won't do it. And now he's like the one kind of surviving, member of this place, and he doesn't even remember what he's doing it for. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah. I'm glad you shouted out the hands, like the ladders that you climb or the ropes that you climb, and the bases are the hands. And yeah, it's like because when you first get here and your first time playing the game, like you might not even like realize, okay, that's hands, like whatever, I don't know, but yeah, like when you actually just like put a little bit of thought into it, it's like, oh man, like this is like I said, this is the first time that like when playing the game the first time that I really started paying more attention to like what was happening and like the story going on. I'm like, oh wow, like this is genuinely sad on a level that I don't see out of many video games, especially like games of this scale. Yeah, like I said, this is the standout like early first half of the game moment for me is the Jeff Agricite story. And yeah, there's also
so sad. There's
NPCs in like the memories that are like, please, like we just need to move to C Note, and he's just like, no, like I can, Daddy can do this, like I can stay here and dig us out. It's just it's so sad. Do you then want to talk a little bit about Nano Cleaner Zera, or did you have more you want to say about Jeff Agricite?
Well, I'll just mention a couple of notes on the song itself. It's incredibly mournful and sad, as it should be, based on the moment that we're describing. But there is a undercurrent of like this very almost blown out like bass that's underneath the whole thing that is like shaking. Like it feels like this thing is trying to shake up, like the literal song is trying to shake apart, and he won't let it. And there's a build that goes from like the 150 mark to the 210 mark that almost feels like it's beginning to form a core melody for really the first time in the song, and then it lets go of it. Like it feels like defeated, and then the song kind of just suddenly ends. And it's just another good example of kind of what we were talking about earlier, like the way that the game kind of really illustrates these moments, like sonically as well. I think is really beautiful. But when it comes to Nano Cleaner Zera, this is I'm trying to get through this, man. This is when like the game kind of hits me emotionally really hard, coming into really from like the Dustbound stuff until like the very end of the game, when you I won't go into the full details just in the interest of time, but Nova is sort of confronted with people who are sort of like living amongst the dust, these dust-bound people, and she's learning for the first time what it's like to literally even have to like talk and eat away from the influence of the center. And again, this is all sort of like an allegory for religion and stuff. When she first meets these dust-bound people, she doesn't even know their names, so like it just says like dust-bound monster in need of cleaning, She gets to know these people the entire time. She's wanting to Palisade is not a thing in the story at this moment. She's wanting to bring Palisade back through these kind of like religious rites and stuff, and she's wanting to kind of like earn her place back almost to the center, not realizing like, hey, there are people who are happily living outside of the center's influence, and they're not evil. And it made me think about like especially the little touches like that, like the dust-bound monster in need of cleaning. Like that was definitely how I was raised to see like non-believers, when I was growing up. I was definitely led to be like, if you see somebody and somebody that does not believe, you should do everything in your power to make them believe, or to like the allegory would be like you're seeing like people who are thirsty and you should give them drink, like that sort of thing. And I mean, like it's literally like gamified, at least the way that I was brought up, of like you'll get like gems and like reward in heaven when you die. If you've when you go to heaven, you'll get rewarded for the people that you've brought with you and the people that you're responsible for, like quote unquote saving. So that all really resonated with me. And so when later in the game, Nova is kind of like, her eyes are open to this, and Palisade's eyes were kind of open to this as well. They just replace her. Mm-hmm. They just birth another one, this Nano Cleaner Zera. And Nova in that moment, like, says, like, my eyes have been opened, and I can't let this happen again. I can't just let, like, another one happen the same way. Like, I have to use the knowledge that I have and at least provide it to her and give her a chance. Jesus Christ. And the moment that happens, you end up kind of like sneaking back into Center Sanctuary and cleaning her or whatever. And you realize in that moment that that's exactly what happened to Nova in the beginning of the game. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There was a nano assassin that tried to do the same thing for her, and you took them out in the beginning of the game. So it's kind of implied that there's like a long line of nano cleaners that the center has just snuffed out until now. You're the one breaking the cycle. And it just makes me think of like, oh man, it makes me think of I'm the oldest of 9 siblings. I have 8 younger brothers and sisters across my messed up family tree. And all of them have, in some way or another, I'm estranged from some of them and this, that, and the other, but like all of them have had complicated relationships either with our parents or with the religion that, we're grown up in. And it made me think about kind of like you don't want to influence them or inform their opinion on anything, because at that point you're no better than the center or whatever, right? But you want to at least give them a different perspective. You want to at least say like, hey, there's this too. You want to say like, hey, the center isn't all that there is. You can be dustbound too. And you want to provide that perspective. And so like when that song plays with Nano Cleaner Zera and you're trying to she's basically trying to save like her little sister in that moment. And it's got this just like somber as hell, like driving melody that's kind of like, it feels important. Like I have to do this. It's got these like chords that are kind of like weakly crying in the background. It's got the nostalgic twinkly thing going on, but it's also got this like crushed like percussion in the background that makes it feel scary. Like it makes it feel like you're going back to a comforting place, but it doesn't feel like home anymore.
There's like this driving beat to it that is like absent from the majority of the soundtrack. Like it's almost like a revenge song in a weird way. Like that's not exactly what it's meant to be, but that's kind of how it sounds to me.
Oh, and then there's a little melody that starts to play. It comes in around a minute, 20 seconds. That just gets me every time, because I don't know if this is the instrument that is used in that moment, but it feels like a distressed like xylophone, like a child's instrument, striking. And it kind of like, it calls back a little bit to like Handfruit Haven, which is like a child's playground, sort of thing. And it just all the theming of like the sort of breaking cycles and helping your siblings and like overcoming religious trauma and like the childhood sort of things that are worked into the music, like that is just that might as well be like a reflection of like my personal life or something. That stuff really hit me hard. And like coming into the end of the game, now it resolves, like the game has a happy ending. The true ending or whatever of the game is a happy one. But damn.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, like I said, I've only seen the end of the game once, but I remember like the majority of like the details that you're talking about, like not just from the story standpoint, but from like a gameplay standpoint, and like shrinking even further beyond like the normal shrinking point, and like disabling all this stuff. Very cool all around. And yeah, again, it's another example of like the game really throwing its own format on its head in the final section and be like, nope, you know what, you're doing something different again. And yeah, we're presenting you with a different feel and tone again. Like, yeah, this is, you're on a mission now kind of thing. Yeah. I didn't actually remember this song until we started compiling the songs we wanted to use for this episode. I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't remember this one. So it was worth doing this episode just to hear that song again. It's fantastic. And also, I think despite the fact that now I no longer have a need to play the rest of Anodyne 2, I feel like I'm probably going to play the rest of Anodyne 2 on this playthrough.
Me too.
With all that said, do we want to get to the YouTube comment oversharing corner?
Yes, please.
Okay. So as a reminder, this is the section of the show where we would normally read off mostly like funny and goofy or interesting or insane comments in the YouTube comment section of any of the songs that we played on this episode. Due to the fact that, like, I don't think that many people have played Anodyne 2, there aren't nearly as many dead grandma reminiscences this time. So mostly what I did for mine was mostly stuck with the sincere, and I think you did too with the one you found. But yeah, it was slim pickings this week, but I want to keep doing this segment every week, so I went for it. I guess I'll just read this first one here. This is YouTube user A Writer commented on Yummy Speak Cozy 2 years ago. This makes me think of my earliest memories, feeling a little lost, maybe a little afraid, then having every ounce of distress erased by the comforting voice of my mom, then a kind, caring hug filled with love and hope. Couldn't tell you why. Really liked that couldn't tell you why at the end there.
Couldn't tell you why.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you why. It's not because, I mean, that's the track that plays in the sort of first 3 dungeons of the yoke, in the very beginning of the game, and like that's exactly what that song is supposed to make you feel.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. That is a warm hug of a song, but also feels like new beginnings, like exciting new beginnings and stuff. It's kind of like comforting. The whole thing feels like kind of muted. It's like you're listening to it from inside of a warm blanket, so that all makes perfect sense. A writer.
Do you want to go with one of yours?
Yeah, this one I found one kind of because you're right, like I was looking through some of these comments, and a lot of them were kind of like shouting out kind of similar things, and that's all fine. It's cool that people are having like somewhat universal experiences with some of this music. But there was a comment that I found from YouTube user Falnerar. I'm gonna go with that. This is from 1 year ago. They commented on Center City C Note. They said, sometimes I listen to this track while walking home in the middle of the night, and I feel like floating among clouds. It's simply magical. And yeah, yep. I can definitely see that. Walking home in the middle of the night, I've never done it, there. But like I said, I used to meditate to that song every single day for like over a year. And there were times where I felt like I was out of body floating, for sure.
Yeah, I've had moments of listening to this like late at night on a drive home from somewhere. It really is. I think I said it earlier, but it's very ethereal and just it takes me places. On this comment, this is a bit of a setup. There was a comment about not remembering where the song Bone Gummed Urine Sands took place in the game. I think it was meant as a joke because it is obviously the name of the song is Bone Gummed Urine Sands, so it'd be hard to not know where it plays.
Where is that at the game? Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a joke. However, YouTube user Mateus Zesny5916 did not take it as a joke and gave a helpful response saying, "Bone and gum level, you clean lover's house." And I thought that was pretty good.
It's you clean lover's house is like, that is objectively what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you are, but like, it's funny because it sort of implies that you're like their maid or something.
Yes.
Like, you're just like...
That's why I thought it was... Yeah, that's why I thought it was so good. Like, I also read this in like a caveman grunt, like, bone and gum level, you clean lover's house.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and read this last one here, which there might be slight spoilers. I don't think this is that big of a deal. It happens in the first half of the game. This is YouTube user Quinn Holloway 5400 commenting on Guardian Palisade 2 years ago. It's ironic, honestly. Spoilers. The center erased her because she was acting too much like a mother towards Nova. But it's through Nova's own grief that she'd eventually be tempted to reject the center completely. As they had not taken her away and let Nova get damaged, she would have never gone out there to find the fruit made for her and thus would have never met the Dustbound. They screwed up, smiley face. And yeah, I thought that was like a good one to end on because, yeah, you know, you see that throughout like real life history too, that like dictators and fascists, they are the ones that make their own enemies and their own downfalls.
Hubris.
That is very often how it goes. And I thought that was just like a nice little summation of a lot of the themes we talked about. And I like the idea of just a random YouTube comment kind of summing it all up like that as we close out the show. That said, at the end of the show, at the end of this episode, it feels like I met up with you like 6 hours ago. I feel like I gotta.
We went on a journey. We went on a real journey. This one.
That said, you can of course always send in voicemails to bitharmonypod@gmail.com to be played on the show, unless you send in something weird or gross or whatever. Honestly, depending on what it is, I would maybe even still play it. So
Probably
don't
just play it anyway.
So yeah, don't think that you get off scot-free by being a weirdo. And like I said earlier, you can of course send in basically whatever you want. Again, if you want examples, go ahead and rewind a couple hours back to the beginning of this episode where we took the voicemails earlier. And I guess I'll let Seth, you can handle the rest of the outro since you've got the Patreon information.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, another great way to sort of be a part of the show, join the All In Discord community. There's links to that in the show notes. You can sound off on show topics, be a part of the community. There's a Bit Harmony, specific sub-channel in there where we poll for, not only do we alert for new episodes and stuff like this, but we also kind of poll for community engagement and stuff there too. So join the Discord. It's free. Friendly, welcoming people in there. And yeah, support on Patreon. You get not only early access to the show, you get a bunch of other exclusive content on there, a bunch of other perks, stuff like discounts on our merch and all that. And we do, of course, want to thank our patrons here at the end of the show. Bit Harmony is made possible by viewers like you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So thank you to our patrons, starting with our Golden Banana Bunch. Thank you to Rob Yapel, Sean O'Baggins Ashton, Tim A, aka NeoPrime33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4, Phelan Ward, Bill Tucker, Marcus O'Neill, Liam D, Gamer Jason, Andrew Wilkins, Foolish Fuji, Alan #Look to the Cookie, Solo, SAZ, and blah blah blah. Thank you very much to our Golden Banana Bunch. Let's thank our Triforce tier patrons. Thank you to Josh Vaughn, John Cummins, Sparky, Adam Caparello, Shy Guy, Daniel Hinojosa, Dan and Luma, Bowza, the Don Rob, Foolish Fuji, and Uncle Randy Bryans. So big thank you to our patrons. You again, go to patreon.com/allinpodcast. You can join their ranks. You can get a 7-day free trial to check it all out for yourself if you would like. So thanks, patrons, for your support and making this all possible. Yeah. Do we want to end the show by talking about what the next episode is?
Yeah, let's do it. That way, if people have specific voicemails they want to send in about it. Our next episode is going to be on Pepper Grinder. That is coming May 5th. This was the recently released indie game published by Devolver Digital. Seth and I both played it. We both loved it. We both really love the soundtrack too. And as Seth mentioned earlier, that is a game with basically no story. So
it won't be 2.5 hours long, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you have any voicemails you want to get in specifically about Pepper Grinder ahead of time, let us know. You can also, I guess, theoretically wait until after the episode is aired if you have reactions to Pepper Grinder, of course. And again, if you have any voicemails just in general that you want sent in, send that over to bitharmonypod@gmail.com. Otherwise, I think we're good, right?
I think we're good. Thanks for listening, everybody. Play Anodyne 2. Play all of Analgesics games, for the love of God, please.
Yes, if you take anything away from this, please there are two grown, large, hairy men crying at you on this podcast to play analgesic games.
Don't let our tears be for nothing. It can't be for nothing.
It can't be for nothing. Taking us out this episode is The Life That Will Live. So see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.